10 questions and 10 minutes with Ben Collins. Are you ready?
I am indeed.
Ben, when you meet someone new and they ask you, so Ben, what do you do? What do you answer?
Good question, this. I used to answer that I was an award-winning film director and stare off into the distance as if I was the most important person in the world. It's now harder. Now I've got 3 businesses. I say I'm in marketing and I'm a media entrepreneur, which still sounds pretty obnoxious, but I just about get away with it.
I like it. I like it. And Ben, what is your definition of success?
My definition of success, I think it's a very personal thing, the definition of success. My definition of success, I suppose, is multi-staged. I think initially it was to be able to put food on the table and live and breathe and by doing what I want and being my own boss. Now my idea of success is, I suppose, really it's infinite. You know, my idea is to try everything in the world, taste every food, to go to every country, and be able to have the freedom to be able to do it all in the way that I want to do it, I suppose. I think that's probably the most broad understanding of my version of success.
Fantastic. Freedom?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, the freedom to be able to do whatever you want on your own terms.
Fantastic. Ben, you help a lot of companies to express their uniqueness through videos, VR. But from your experience, how important is an idea for the success of a business, of an entrepreneur?
I don't think it's as important as everybody thinks. I think the idea is obviously can be integral to a business, to any sort of business. But I think a lot of people, and especially when people are looking to start their own businesses or do their own thing, they get obsessed with the idea of an idea and thinking that the idea basically drives and sort of motivates the entire business and the success of it. It's nonsense, really. You know, I find people who never have an idea and will never start a business with an idea. But one of the most successful people I know, he never had an idea. He just had business savvy. And he found somebody who had an idea, they combined together, and they created an incredibly successful business. So really, when you're thinking about the idea, you don't have to have an idea to have a business. Even my first business was film production. I didn't have the idea to do film production. That's been around for quite a long time. Really, the success with that was being able to have an idea that's been around for years, but do it in a better way, do it in a cheaper way, make it more easily distributable, you know, do it different territories. There are many different ways. So, you know, overall, yeah, the idea I think is given a bit too much importance.
If you were to give a percentage of how important is an idea for a successful business, what would it be?
I would probably give it 42%.
That's specific.
Yeah, that's what my gut tells me.
Fantastic. And what advice would you give to someone who has a strong desire to launch their business, but they haven't started yet? What would you recommend them?
So I've got what I think is a great piece of advice for this, and I bang on about it to everybody. Starting a business isn't just suddenly leaping off a cliff face and just going into the abyss. When I started my very first business, I basically worked on it in the evenings and in lunchtimes while I had another job. And I sort of built it up incrementally over the course, I think it was about 6 months. By the way, when I did start in 6 months, I thought I knew what I was doing. I had no idea. But starting your own business, I think people get really scared that they go from a well-paying job, security, to nothing. That's just not true. My advice for anyone wanting to start a business is it's quite easy to build up your own business in your spare time if you're really serious about it. So by the time that you want to start it full time, you've built up that business that can support you. So rather than jumping off a cliff, it's just a little step off. You know, you've built it up incrementally. You've got to a point that it can support you a bit. So really, starting a business is a relatively easy thing.
That's fantastic advice, Ben. Thank you.
Thank you. I think so.
And what was the best advice you ever received?
So the best advice I've received, and I've received it relatively recently, was diary management. So I've now got 3 businesses. Very difficult to be able to jump between the 3. They all do sort of different things, and leading that from the top and being able to put your headspace in each different one is very difficult. There's a lot of demands from a business from one, so let alone, you know, three is pretty hard. So it's diary management. Every start of every week, I go through my diary. I put off meetings with myself. I put on meetings with my teams, and I basically map out my week to the hour. Sometimes the hour just might be a rest hour, and I review that every morning. And that allows me to basically stay in the 3 different headspaces I need and sort of manage my diary. Now, there's a little bit of shift in between that. You know, I can sort of mix it up day to day, but that diary management has really allowed me to sort of keep on focusing on the important things rather than reactive work such as emails and all that nonsense.
That was diary management. I like that. If you remember, and if there was one, Ben, what was the biggest mistake you ever made in business?
No mistakes. No, that's a lie. What was the biggest mistake I made?
Yeah.
I think so. The biggest mistake I've probably made was you hear the phrase sort of fail and fail fast. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that is a sort of an interesting phrase, and sort of what I agree with. And I think the biggest mistake I might have made was maybe clinging on to a concept, clinging on to an idea, a way of doing things a little bit too long. And, you know, I wouldn't say that any of my business, none of my businesses have failed, and that's been great. But also my business could have maybe found success faster if I had gone a little bit more aggressively on a concept or idea, failed quicker, and be able to change things again rather than clinging on to and trying to extend and make the thing work when it might not have done. I think that's probably a generic way of answering that question.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. Thanks. Question number 7. What was your greatest professional satisfaction?
Okay, this is hard. I think there's 2 things I think about. Mm-hmm. I started my film production business when I was quite young, and my goal was to make fantastic, really sort of premium content for the biggest brands in the world. And I remember the first time we got our big job with Adidas. We did it with an agency, and we shot a big Adidas campaign in Rio. And, you know, it was my job. My team did it. We had a crew of about 50 people in Rio. It was, and I just remember when the first element of that was we got that job, and I remember walking over Waterloo Bridge and just looking across London in that sort of quite filmic moment, thinking, Jesus Christ, I think, you know, this is amazing. We did it. And then it was actually being on set that day. I remember that when I first read that question, that was what I think about. I get many different personal satisfactions, all the time, but that was the one that really stuck out. I remember thinking, crikey, maybe I'm not completely batshit crazy.
It was great. I remember it. It was really fantastic. It was a great one.
Thanks, man.
Oh, let's take the time machine, man, and let's go back when you were younger, and you had this instinct, the idea of wanting to open your first business. If you could meet that Ben, what would you tell him?
If I say that, the last bit again. If I could meet that Ben.
Ben, when he was young, ready to launch his first business, what would you tell him if you could speak to him today?
What would I tell him? I would probably tell him to be even more aggressive. I was pretty aggressive back then, in going out for stuff. But I would say, like we sort of said about before, that fail fast. You know, I would say get out there more, meet more people, be more aggressive in your ideas. Realize that you haven't got as much time as you think you do to be able to sort of achieve these things. It's interesting when I look back at it, I was making far riskier decisions back then than I do now. But even I would go back and tell him to make even riskier decisions and even go for it, because ultimately, I think as long as you've got application and belief, that everything sort of comes out right in the end. So, and a better skincare regime as well. That would probably help too.
Fantastic. Be more aggressive. Get out more. Very nice. Original. So let's imagine, Ben, with the background, the experiences, you're professional luggage today, if you were to start from zero, what would be the first thing you would do?
First thing I would do if I was to start from zero, I'd make more partnerships. I think. I think I'd go out and again, meeting people. I think it's very easy at stage one to work in silos and work in isolation, and hold those reins really tightly. I would definitely, I would look to go and partner with more people and sort of create wider networks of people to work towards a goal. And I think that definitely when I first started the business, it was me and my business partner in a room thinking we could change the world. From there, do our things. I would go back and I would realize the power of the collective, I suppose. That would definitely be one thing I would do. What else? I think there's something sort of falls at stage zero. And I think that's it. I think it's the power of the collective and the power of people and networks. I think that's been really interesting to me, especially in the past few years.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Get up more. Get up more. So Ben, 3 businesses that you're running today at the same time. But what are you working on today? Is there a special project, something new?
So at the moment, the third business is probably what I'm working on mostly at the moment. The other 2 businesses are running very well and everything's going pretty smoothly. But the third business is a virtual events platform. And I think actually maybe this is something I could have fed into the previous questions now as I think about it. At the beginning of the pandemic, obviously the world was going in a very new place, very new territory. And me and my business partner, Patrick, put our heads together and thought, how could we try and apply our skill sets with our the 2 businesses we have, which is my film production company and the real estate VR marketing agency that we have, Walk True. How could we put those towards a COVID relevant product business? Wow. And at that time, we worked with Skylark Creative, who are a digital agency. We worked with them a lot, and we basically all came together and all of our skill sets sort of combined to create a virtual events platform that uses VR, we call it the experience first virtual events platform. Wow. And I think that the speed in which we managed to pivot what we were all doing into one product that was very relevant, that has been momentous for us. I got to say, after years of working in film production and VR and marketing, to have a product that is really relevant and really zeitgeisty of its time has been huge. And so we've brought that together. It's True Events. It's going really, really well. And that is definitely taking a lot of my time up at the moment. But yeah, if I was to take a little piece of advice from that, I think the way that we literally just, we had that conversation, I think last March, and suddenly already we've turned it into a business that is already turning over a good amount of money, and it's already serviced. We've done over 10 events already. We've had thousands of people through our platform. That was from a conversation last March from sort of pandemic, what the hell we're going to do. So I don't know what that little nugget of advice is in there, but it's that's what's taking a lot of my sort of side projects on at the moment. So
fantastic, man. We're gonna move to the backstage of our conversation.
Was that within 10 minutes? Because I felt like I was going on and on.
Very well, 13 minutes. It was really, really good.
Okay, so I was 3 minutes. So I thought I should extend it a bit because I was being too short. But anyway.
Yeah, but that's I think the great thing about doing things live, because you can plan whatever you want to say, but then when you're actually talking, it's totally different because you get emotionally involved, and what probably you imagine could take a little time will take more. But I really appreciate it. And I was interested, you were speaking about the platform of True Events. Is it a platform you created, or you are using other softwares or?
So we created True Events. So it's all proprietary software that we've created. So it's Walk True, which is my VR business. It's a marketing agency essentially, but we do lots of VR. We're sort of there providing the visuals for it. And then you've got Skylark Creative, who are building the back end platform for it. We've sort of combined that all together. DHP, my film production agency, provides the video content or the other content to go within the platform. So yeah, we've built that all ourselves. We, as I said, we had the conversations of that started sort of March, April last year. Built the sort of the MVP, the minimum viable product. Got that going by, I don't want to put a date on it. I can't remember. It's all been such a whirlwind, but I think we sort of had our first event on it in September, maybe September, October. And we sort of, it's still early days. We're constantly building on it, but it is been really successful. It's a really robust platform. People love it already. So yeah, we've built that all ourselves.
Fantastic. The other thing I was really interested was about your location of your first Adidas big gig deal. Who chose the location? The customer.
There's two. Well, the agency that we did it through is We Are Social. They chose the location, but I made sure that we had to do a recce trip out there before we shot to make sure we got the right location in Rio. So.
Is there anywhere we could eventually? I would like to put it in the link because I remember seeing it because I think you posted it somewhere, and I got a chance to see it. If we wanted to watch it today, is it on YouTube, Vimeo?
It's on YouTube. I mean, it was a while back. You know, it was our first big, first. Yeah, I mean, yeah, show my age. It was a long time ago. But yeah, I think it's on YouTube. Sorry.
Nice. It was nice. Also, the Nike one, I was really impressed. You did a shoe also, right? A Nike.
Yeah, we did a couple of Nike ones. Yeah, good memory, Mary. Very good.
Thank you. I follow people I respect, and we've done something together a long time ago. And when I find highly professionals, and what we told earlier, the fact that your goal was to create premium content. I got to tell you, I had the feeling all the way through working with you and your crew. And I think that you make it very clear that you're all about quality, which is not really easy to get through, but you did a fantastic job. And I've followed you through the years, and I've seen that coherency of being, really wanting to give something, not only a product, but doing the best you can. I honestly have seen this through your whole career, and I can see it now with the tree events, right? It's like a cherry on a cake, because first with the video company, the VR, and now with tree events, it seems like you have the recipe for a great product, man. Because at the end,
make me blush, Mary. You're gonna make me blush. It's
true. And that's one reason why I wanted to, to interview someone who is doing a lot. And as I told you earlier, I think the location, London, despite whatever's going to happen in the future, it has still great vibes. It's a great place to be, to work. And how, in percentage wise, how much work you do for like outside of the UK and in the UK? You also work for firms outside of the UK?
Yeah. So we do work for firms outside the UK. We're working a lot in America at the moment. So we've got, we're working for Interpublic on the True Event side, IPG Media brand. So we're doing a lot of work stateside at the moment, especially with the events. I think there's obviously a large events culture over there that's been slightly set back by the pandemic. We're doing a lot of work there. Also Walk True, our the property marketing business, obviously in the Middle East, we do some work out there for a lot of property visualizations, property marketing, etc. on that side too. So yeah, we were where else? To be fair, it's sort of most of our work is in the UK, but I think at the moment we're doing a lot of work stateside. That's probably where a lot of our work is coming in. Hopefully, when the pandemic's over, we'll be able to travel a little bit more and work in some more exotic places than Grey London.
Yeah, Rio was good, man. I'm sure it was fun.
That was wild. That was really wild. I would say that's probably, actually, I was going to say that's the best place I've worked, but that's not true. We did a video project for small luxury hotels of the world, which took me to New York, the Maldives, and somewhere else. Oh, Italy. Took me to Tuscany. Yeah. No, I went New York, Tuscany to the Maldives in 2 weeks for that shoot. So that was probably the best shoot we've done. Yeah, I could use more of those. If anyone's out there who wants to who wants some great video content and wants to send me to those places, I'm more than happy to.
I must say that I was thinking about it while you were speaking, that you're one of the lucky ones. You're like the artists, because see, we can go back and look at your work that you've done 20 years ago, and it's like a piece of art. Any content you create, it stays there, so the future generations can see it. And I think it's really an artistic work, and you do it in a very special way. And I'm really grateful and happy to have you as a guest today in my 10 question minutes. I will link in the bio of all the contents, your websites and everything. And since I have the new project in Dubai, believe me, the first one who I'll call will be you, so we can close the circle and maybe open another one. So
absolutely.
Question. I have one more. Ben.
Okay.
How can you manage at the same time 3 companies and your personal life? Is it only the diary? It can't be just a diary, right?
You know what? I think it's managing it changes every day. I think what happened in the pandemic was, and I was saying this to you before we went live on air, I was working out why I was working so much harder. Obviously, I started a new business in the pandemic, but when you're at your desk all day, you send more emails, you do more things, and that just invites more responses. So actually, you're just giving yourself more work to do. So I'm sort of working every single day on how to best manage these 3 different businesses. And like I said, diary management is vital to allowing that to happen. And I know this is, if I said this to myself a year ago, I just wouldn't have taken it, because this is such an obvious and sort of it's a classic answer that anybody would give. But actually, I'm finding the way of managing the 3 businesses is to give myself time off those 3 businesses. So I've always been very aggressive at, work harder. I don't have a work-life balance. I think, my businesses are my sort of life. It's, that's what it is, right? I love working on them. And I don't, I enjoy having the sort of the time off when I have it, but also working is sort of my downtime as well. But I would say that actually what the pandemic's allowed me to realize is that I am working the most efficiently with the 3 businesses when within that diary, that schedule I'm giving myself, I schedule out time to chill out, because burnout is a real thing. And I think that, even if I have to do it in the most formulaic way of putting that time aside for myself, it allows me to go back to the other 3 and, enjoy it and be creative in it. So I think, although that's just a classic answer, I found it very much to be true.
I think it's the right answer, Ben. And I really would like to thank you for your time, for sharing your experiences. And I look forward to work on a new project together with you, hopefully very soon.
So and you, sir. Thank you very much for having me on.
And see you soon. All the best, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Cheers. Bye.
Ciao. Ciao, man.